Today we're diving into the life of a woman who refused to accept the limits placed upon her. A Civil War surgeon, passionate reformer, and the only woman in American history to receive the Medal of Honor. This is the story of Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, a woman decades ahead of her time and an absolute badass who challenged society every step of the way. But before we get into it, here's a sponsored ad by yours truly. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
For the Turtle Club?
Because there is a vast amount of you who are watching my videos that aren't subscribed. And quite frankly, that's malarkey.
It's bullshit.
So, if you like this video and the others on my channel, I ask you please subscribe. I would love to do this full time one day, and the only way I can make that happen is with your help. I'm hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I believe every single one of you will make that happen. Right? Right?
It's history on repeat.
Hell yeah.
Mary Edwards Walker was born on November 26, 1832 in Oswego, New York. She grew up on a farm with progressive parents who believed their daughters deserved the same education as their son. Her parents, Alva and Vesta Walker, were abolitionists and staunch believers in equality. They basically ran their farm like a boot camp for future reformers, encouraging critical thinking, free speech, and independence in all their kids. One small example, Mary often wore trousers underneath her dress while working. Because let's be real, skirts aren't exactly practical when you're hauling hay and mucking stalls. But beyond practicality, it was a choice that would later become her signature stand against restrictive women's fashion. From early on, Mary knew she didn't want that typical life expected of women back then. She didn't want to just get married and pump out a bunch of kids. No. Mary wanted to make her own rules and forge her own way through life. She decided she wanted to be a doctor. At a time when men literally believed women's brains were smaller and therefore more stupid than theirs. Yeah, great work, fellas.
God damn it! Stupid ass man!
But Mary didn't care about that piss poor pseudoscience. She was going to be a doctor. So how'd she make it happen? She enrolled at Foley Seminary in Fulton, New York, worked as a teacher, saved up enough money for medical school, and in 1855, after years of scrutiny from her peers, she graduated from Syracuse Medical College, becoming one of the first female doctors in the country. Imagine walking into a room full of all male doctors back then. The looks those dickheads probably gave her. Damn, there are times where I do feel bad for being a man, and this happens to be one of those.
We suck.
But the story isn't about me, and Mary didn't care. She started her own practice and often treated poor women and kids for free because she was already an absolute legend. And not all of her peers looked down on her, though. One fellow medical student, Albert Miller, actually took a liking to her, and apparently she liked him too. They married in 1856, but Mary refused to obey traditional expectations. She kept her maiden name, wore trousers under her wedding dress, and insisted on a marriage contract that protected her legal rights, which Albert was fine with for a while. But the marriage didn't last, and they separated after a few years. It may have been hard on Al, but Mary continued to live boldly and never conforming to what society told her a woman should be. She kept helping those in need until the Civil War broke out. In 1861, Mary immediately volunteered to serve as a surgeon for the Union Army, which she was 100% qualified to do. But the Army rejected her outright, saying, "Women can't be surgeons." Even my beloved Army was stuck in this male hive mind bullshit at the time.
You're such a dumbass.
Such a dumbass.
So what did Mary do? She volunteered anyway, working unpaid, working as a field surgeon in temporary hospitals on battlefields. She treated wounded at the First Battle of Bull Run, often performing surgeries in rough, makeshift conditions. During the Civil War, medical knowledge was pretty basic and no fault to Mary or any other doctor. Germ theory wasn't widely accepted yet, and antiseptics weren't used. So when soldiers were brought in with bullets lodged in their limbs, the quickest way to save their lives was amputation. The fuck? Oh, we gotta get rid of him. Gotta get rid of this fly. All right, I think we got him. Doctors, often referred to as sawbones, would set up under tents or in barns working non-stop. On busy days, a surgeon might perform over 100 amputations. The average time to remove a limb? 10 minutes or less. Speed was everything to keep the patient alive and move on to the next wounded man. The operating tables were often just wooden planks with piles of amputated limbs stacked outside. Grim is an understatement, and Mary was there, volunteering, unpaid, right in the thick of it. Her dedication and skill, though, eventually forced officials to recognize her. By 1863, she was eventually hired as a contract acting assistant surgeon with the Army of the Cumberland. Say that 10 times fast. Oh my gosh. Making her the first female U.S. Army surgeon in history. She is officially a bad bitch in my book. But Mary wasn't finished. She didn't see the war as Union versus Confederacy. She saw Americans, soldiers, civilians. It didn't matter which side you were on. If you needed help, Mary was there. She often crossed back and forth between Union and Confederate territory to treat civilians, which she did for months. And you would think her services would give her a get out of jail free card, right? No, it made her a target. And in April of 1864, while aiding civilians in Tennessee, she was captured by Confederate troops and accused of being a spy because of her clothing and movements in the area. It must have been nerve-wracking since spies were generally shot to make sure whatever intel they had died with them. But Mary wasn't a spy, and whether they believed her or not, she was ultimately sent to a Confederate prison. Yay! We avoided certain death, right? Wrong again. She spent 4 months in Richmond's notorious Castle Thunder prison. Conditions were brutal. Overcrowding, disease, and malnutrition were daily reality. But Mary still offered aid to those she could and kept advocating for her prisoners' rights. Even at her lowest, she resisted everything thrown at her. Eventually, she was released in a prisoner exchange for Confederate doctors. I guess they finally decided she wasn't a spy after all. Just too bad Andrew's Raiders couldn't get that same respect. I digress. For her service and dedication, President Andrew Johnson awarded her the Medal of Honor in 1865, citing her valuable service to the government. Finally, Mary was getting the respect she deserved. Yeah, not completely. In 1917, her medal was rescinded during a review of eligibility. They said since she wasn't an enlisted soldier, she didn't qualify for the Medal of Honor. Total bullshit, right? But Mary, being Mary, refused to return it. She wore her Medal of Honor every single day until her death, defiantly proud of her service. Luckily, almost 60 years later, the government finally got its head out of its ass and made things right. In 1977, President Jimmy Carter restored her Medal of Honor posthumously. After the war, Dr. Walker continued in her activism. She lectured widely about women's rights, health reform, and dress reform, arguing that restrictive clothing harmed women's health and freedom. She was arrested multiple times just for wearing trousers in public. But she wore them anyway. She published books advocating for suffrage and equal rights, never ceasing to challenge societal norms. Mary Edwards Walker died on February 21st, 1919 at the age of 86. She was buried in her black suit and tie, just as she lived, on her own terms. Today, her Medal of Honor remains a powerful reminder of her courage, not just on Civil War battlefields, but in her lifelong fight for equality and justice. Mary Walker wasn't just a woman who earned the Medal of Honor. She was a physician, a prisoner of war, a reformer, and a revolutionary spirit who refused to accept limits. When you see a woman wearing scrubs, treating patients, leading troops as a combat medic, or refusing to bend to discrimination, remember that pioneers like Dr. Mary Edwards Walker paved the way with sheer courage and unbreakable conviction. Thanks for watching History on Repeat. As always, if there's anything I missed, please feel free to post them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed learning about Dr. Walker, and please subscribe for more stories about fearless people who shaped history. With that being said, though, stay curious, stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.
It's history on repeat.
Hell yeah.